So I'm going to pass around a picture, and I want you to look at the picture, and I want to tell you about the fellow in the picture. Please pass it around quietly. It only requires your eyes to look at it. It doesn't require your voice to talk about it, although I'm happy to field questions after. I'm a little nervous, so bear with me. Do you notice a year written on that picture? What year is written on that picture? 1944. So I want to ask you guys, I'm calling on your knowledge of history. Does anybody know what was happening in the world in 1944? Will? World War II was happening. World War II, 1944. And the character in the picture is my dad upon his graduation from Marine boot camp. I'm amazed as I look at that picture that this is a man who has just graduated from the Marine Corps boot camp. Because he looks about your age, doesn't he? He looks pretty young in that picture. He almost looks like a Boy Scout. So, December 7, 1941, a date which will live in infamy, from Franklin Delano Roosevelt's speech, the infamy speech. My dad was a little over 16 years old on that day. He was full of pride for his country, and he was ready to sign up, join the military, to defend his nation's honor. Very strong pride in his country, wanted to offer service to his country. As you can tell from the baby face in the picture, the recruiters knew that he was not the 18-year-old that he was trying to put himself off as. So they said, please come back when you're 18, and he did. There's a saying, once a Marine, always a Marine. My dad is definitely in that category. He loves to talk about his service. He was only in the service for a short time. He was in the Pacific Theater. He took Spanish in high school, and coming from German heritage, he was also in the German club. So when he got in the military, they decided he would have an aptitude for learning languages, and they sent him to intelligence school to learn how to speak Japanese. By the time he graduated from boot camp, in 1944, General MacArthur was on his way through the Pacific. My dad was sent to Saipan to join Fox Company as a replacement. I called him on the phone last night because I wanted to make sure I got my facts straight. This was his quote. They needed a lot of replacements after that one. He told me sorrowfully. He had the job of traveling through villages as an interpreter. Many civilians at that time were beginning to surrender, so the military needed men who could communicate with them. He served as a teacher of English to 11, 12, and 13-year-olds. He told me the story last night that as many of you who are familiar with substitute teachers who may not know who you are, they were always constantly changing their seats. So he would come in one day and he would say, I don't think they're all sitting in the same seats. And he found one young man who he could recognize, and he learned that boy's name. And he came into the class the next day, and they had all switched seats on him. And he pointed to one boy, and he called the boy by his name. And then all of the other boys were like, oh, he knows who we are. We have to sit where we belong. So he had a great time. He also traveled around with a Catholic chaplain, visiting the villages and trying to improve the lives of the people who live there. He served with pride and still holds that honor close to his heart 71 years later. And I feel very blessed that my dad, who will be 91 in a couple of weeks, is still in my life to guide me and to love me. And I'm really proud of him. So thank you very much for letting me share my dad with you.